Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we are going to discuss the 3 decisions that determine your quality of life. They determine whether you feel rich or poor at any given moment. But before we started, please subscribe to this channel and like this video if you would like to receive future updates from us. Decision number 1. What do you focus on? At every moment of our lives, there are millions of things we can focus on. We can focus on the past that are happening here and now, or on the ones we want to do in the future. We can direct it to overcoming a great challenge or appreciating the beauty of that moment, or to our self-pity over a disappointing experience. If we don't consciously manage our focus, the environment will constantly try to grab our attention. Many hundreds of billions of dollars are invested in advertising in an attempt to capture this precious commodity, your attention. The news tries to capture your focus by telling you the most terrifying stories. Why? The more sensationalist, the higher the attention, according to media wisdom. And if that wasn't enough, we live in a world of social media where the vibration of your smartphone constantly demands your attention. But here's the key: your energy goes into what you're focusing on. What you focus on in your life will shape your life. Welcome back to my YouTube. Let's look at 2 of these patterns that can determine and instantly change your joy of life, your satisfaction, your frustration, your anger, your stress, or even your fulfillment. The first question is, what do you tend to focus more on, what you have or what you lack in life? I'm sure you think about both sides of the coin, but when you check your usual thoughts, what do you think about most often? Even those of us who find ourselves in extremely difficult situations have a lot in life that we can appreciate. If you're struggling financially, it might help you to remember that even with a salary of just $34,000 a year, you're one of the top 1% of the world's highest earning people. Yes, the average income worldwide is only $1,480 per month. In fact, half of the world's population, that's more than 3 billion people, live on less than $2.5 a day, which is just over $900 a year. The average price of a Starbucks drink is $3 to $5. If you can afford it, you're spending more on buying a cup of coffee than half of the world's population has to live on every day. That puts things in perspective, doesn't it? So if you want to occupy Wall Street because you're upset about the so-called 1% of multi-billionaires, maybe stop for a moment and think about the fact that 99% of the rest of the world might want to occupy your horrible life. But seriously, instead of constantly thinking about things we don't have and cultivating a grudge against all those who are better off financially, perhaps we should acknowledge that there is so much in our own lives that we can be grateful for that has nothing to do with money. We can be thankful for our health, for our friends, our possibilities, our minds, and the fact that we can drive on roads that we didn't have to build ourselves, that we can read books that we didn't have to write ourselves in years of painstaking detail, and that we can use the internet that we didn't have to invent ourselves. What do you usually focus on? On what you have or the supposed lack? When you learn to value what you have, you can feel greater emotional well-being and intangible wealth. I assume that if you are reading this book, you are one of those people who already know what you have. The real question, however, is whether you take the time to think in your mind, body, heart, and soul. These are the places where you will find true joy and gifts. You won't find it in an intellectual appreciation that results from a rational effort or the acquisition of another dollar or another $10 billion. Now let's look at a second concentration pattern that influences the individual's perceived quality of life. Do you tend to focus on things you can control or things you have no control over? I know the answer is contextual, as that changes depending on the situation, but my question is general. Which attitude are you more inclined towards? Be honest. If you focus on the things you have no control over, you will feel a greater burden in your life. They can influence numerous aspects of your life, but not the markets, the health of those close to you, or the behavior of your children, as anyone who has a 2-year-old child or a pubescent teenager as a son or daughter knows. Yes, we can influence a lot of things, but we can't control things. The more powerless we feel, the more frustrated we become. In fact, self-esteem can be measured by how much we feel we can control the events in our lives versus feelings of powerlessness. Now that you're starting to focus on an important aspect of your life, your brain needs to make a second decision. Decision number 2, what does this mean to you? Ultimately, our general attitude towards life has nothing to do with external events, our financial situation, or the things that happened to us or did not happen to us. The quality of life we feel about us is determined by the importance we attach to the events. Most of the time, we don't realize the meaning of the decision we make unconsciously. When something happens that shakes your life, a car accident, an illness, the loss of your job, do you tend to believe that this is the end? Or do you see it as an opportunity for a new beginning? When someone criticizes you, do you perceive it as an insult, advice, or genuine concern for you? Does this devastating problem mean that God is punishing or testing you? Or could it be that it is a gift from God? Your life is what you see in it, because every importance you attach to events has certain feelings attached to it. And quality of life is first and foremost a personal sensation. The meaning of things not only affects our sensations, it affects our entire relationships and interpersonal exchanges. Some people believe that the first 10 of a relationship are just the beginning, and the better you get to know each other, the more exciting the relationship becomes. They see this as an opportunity for a deeper understanding on both sides. Others who have an argument after the first 10 days believe that this is the end. If you believe that this is the beginning of a relationship, do you behave in the same way as if you were convinced that it is the end? This small difference in perception, in the meaning you attach to things, can change your entire life in a single moment. At the beginning of a relationship, you are head over heels in love and feel irresistibly attracted to your partner. What you wouldn't do for your partner? If he or she asks you to take out the trash, you'll jump up and say, "Anything that makes you happy, my darling." But after 7 days, 7 years, or even 70 years, the same people might say, "What the hell do you think I am? Your errand boy?" And they wonder what has become of their passion. Many times I have told couples who have had relationship problems that if you do what you did at the beginning of the relationship, it will never end. Because at the beginning of the relationship you gave wholeheartedly and did not count every action like an accountant. They didn't constantly watch over which of the two gives more. Your entire focus has been on making your partner happy, and that, in turn, has made you happy. Let's now look at how these first two choices, focus and meaning, often combine to create one of the biggest decisions in the world. Burdens of modern society, depression. I'm sure you're wondering how it can be that so many rich and famous people who have everything you could wish for suffer from depression. How is it possible that so many of the people who are admired by millions and have a fortune in the millions have killed themselves? Time and time again, we have seen exceptionally intelligent people, businessmen, movie stars, and comedians take their own lives. How is this possible, especially today when there are so many treatment methods? In my seminars, I always ask, who among you knows a person who takes antidepressants and still has depression? Everywhere, no matter where in the world my seminars take place, I see in a hall with 5,000 to 10,000 participants that 85% raise their hand. How is this possible? Finally, patients are given a medication designed to brighten their mood. Well, the leaflet of these antidepressants warns that suicidal thoughts can be one of the possible side effects. The real challenge, however, may be that you will never get out of your despair if you only focus on the things you have no control over, no matter how many medications you take. If you combine this with a meaning that life is not worth living, then you get an emotional cocktail that no antidepressant in the world can fight permanently. However, I can tell you without any doubt, if the same person succeeds in charging life with a new meaning, a reason that makes life worth living, or a higher meaning, then he will overcome any adversity in life. If a person constantly focuses on who needs, wants, and loves him and what he himself wants to give to this world, then the entire perspective of life changes. How do I know? Because in the 38 years that I have been working with people, out of the many thousands with whom I have had active contact, I have never lost a single person to suicide. If you can get a person to realign their focus and need boundaries more. 29. Giving things a more positive meaning doesn't know life. A realignment of your focus and a change in the way you see and evaluate things can change your biochemistry in one fell swoop. How else to explain the power and beauty of people like the great neurologist and psychiatrist Viktor Frankl and many others who survived the horrors of Auschwitz? They managed to find meaning in their unimaginable suffering, a higher, deeper meaning that gave them the strength to go on living, and not only to survive, but also to save many others in the future, simply by saying, "This must never happen again." We can all find meaning, and meaning even in pain. And if we succeed in doing so, we will still feel the pain, but the suffering will be less. So take the wheel and always remember, meaning means feelings and feelings mean life. Make conscious and wise choices. Find the empowering meaning in everything, and you will be a rich person in the deepest sense of the word. That's it for today's video. We will discuss the last decision in the part 3 video. I hope you enjoyed it. In the description you will find the link to the book. What do you think of our video? Subscribe to more content like this, click the like button and share. Also, leave a comment if you have a topic you would like us to cover. Until next time, take care of yourselves.